What's up, Lore Masters? This video is a request by a counselor of the lore. Now, I make sincere attempts to do all requests, but if you want to see yours brought to the top of the list, consider becoming a patron. Links in the description. Now, taking a look, the original question was pretty simple. Explain the differences in phaser and disruptor technology. As of the upload of this video, phaser technology is so intricate that there are entire databases dedicated to breaking down the vast amount of minutia. Disruptor technology can effectively be broken down in less than 2 minutes in comparison. Given how vast phaser tech is, I'll be doing a 2 to 3 part series so I can adequately address this entire topic. In what will be of little to no surprise to anyone who watches this channel, most of the information we have on phaser technology comes from exclusively that of Starfleet and the Federation. However, we do know that phaser technology was developed across the galaxy with different species. We also know that the phaser technology is created and utilized in the exact same methods. This was probably due to lazy writing. This was most likely due to the lack of funding from executives to actually try and make the Trek universe a diverse one. Proliferation of phaser technology from multiple cultures that did not interact before they created the tech itself may indicate that phaser technology is simply easier to discover and develop, and it did not require certain elements or alloys from specific planets. As an example, while I can't be sure, it wouldn't be surprising to see an alien species use some form of bullets in the real world. I mean, if a process works, it works, and physics doesn't change generally. Most phasers are classified as particle weapons that fire nadion beams. The way this works is that plasma is passed to a phaser emitter, which results in the discharge of nadion particles. This method means that residual particles could be found in places where phaser battles had occurred. The force of the nadion beam can be modulated based on the type of destructive effect that you want. However, some phasers are constructed utilizing plasma only, so if you're getting hit with a phaser, you may be hit with nadion beams or forced plasma beams. Interestingly, while most think of phasers as the weapon of choice utilized by Starfleet, phaser technology is, in reality, widely utilized as a tool, weapons being only one of many of these tools. We see phaser bores, drills, and even mounted phasers that are utilized to create heat, destroy rock or walls, and multiple other uses. Though, phasers being utilized as a tool is more the next generation era and on. From what I can tell, we only see phasers as weapons in the original series, though I'm open to being wrong on that. For Starfleet, the genesis of phaser technology began with, where else, the United Earth. The United Earth would of course have bullets, which then would move to lasers, then phase-modulated particle weapons, and ultimately the creation of the phaser in the mid-22nd century. In the 22nd and 23rd century, it would not be uncommon to see weapons utilized interchangeably. Starfleet personnel could have either lasers, phase pistols, or phasers. Personal phaser weapons had settings of stun, heat, kill, disintegrate, and Oberth, meaning that the phaser could be rigged to explode. Though unlike Oberths, the explosion could cause damage. Fun fact, even handheld phasers could damage shielding. However, the size and type of phaser would impact how effective it was. Handheld phasers would not be as powerful against shields as phaser rifles, which weren't as powerful as phaser turrets. According to Memory Alpha, Starfleet would have 3 different types of phasers, which was the Phaser Type 1, Type 2 phaser, and Phaser Type 3. From what I can tell, the first 2 are handheld versions, whereas the Type 3 is a phaser rifle. As time progressed, phasers would evolve as weapon technology advanced. The color of the phaser beams could range from red to green to purple and invisible. The invisible beam made the person light up like a Christmas tree once hit, and I guess that's pretty lucky because if they didn't do that, you couldn't tell on TV that they had been shot. The explanation for the change in color is due to resonance frequency. Okay. Depending on the era of the phaser and type, the weapons would make different sounds. In fact, it would be possible to determine what type of weapon was being used simply by listening to the weapon being fired. Most phasers were set to fire a single beam, though we see phasers also fire pulses. The weapons could additionally be modified with wider beams to utilize a phaser sweep, changed to fire multiple beams at once, or simply fire pulses. Phasers could even be adjusted to impact and disrupt holograms, and yet not impact the molecules of air. For Starfleet, chips called phaser adapters were installed after the initial battle with the Borg at Wolf 359. These chips automatically reset the phaser to random resonant frequencies after each shot, yet didn't change the color of the phaser shots. Even though these chips would be installed on every weapon, Starfleet personnel would continue to advise their friends that they set the weapon to change frequencies at every encounter that we have with the Borg, because God forbid the audience do some research on their own about the universe. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why they would tell them when these chips were installed and it is actually alpha canon. I have no idea, I guess to make everybody feel better. Anyway, moving on. Phasers could be disabled through many means, but what is most known to impact phaser technology is hyperonic radiation. This apparently disabled most weapons, subsystems, and devices as well. Though, unlike other subsystems and devices, you could modify the phaser utilizing service circuits that continuously this word right here that you can find in Memory Alpha. Basically, it fixed everything. While still very powerful, phasers could not impact neutronium alloys, terranium alloys, nor the dichironium cloud creature. And according to Memory Alpha again, some creatures would even feed off the energy, an example of this being Armus from the Next Generation era. As discussed, Starfleet weapons would also have an Oberth setting causing them to explode, but unlike Oberths, they would do actual damage from the explosion. There was a distinctive sound when a phaser was overloading, and this would be intricately set to allow the good guys to realize when something was about to explode or for the bad guys to recognize how boned they were. Looking at the settings of the phasers, the first setting is called number 1 and is the stun setting. Now, in theory, a hit from a phaser at this setting would stun or incapacitate a subject. However, at close range, a stun setting could kill a human. Because why have consistency in the numbering system? The next setting we know of is Force 3, which is the setting of choice if you wish to kill most organisms. Though larger creatures would be able to resist instant death and be stunned, or shrug off the damage completely. Setting 3.4 or 3.5 was thought to be enough to stun a changeling as an example. Phasers would also have heat and cutting settings as well, though how they delineated from other settings, I'm not completely sure. Handheld phasers also had a level 10 and a maximum setting that was a killing setting, so I guess there are 2 killing settings? When 1 isn't enough. Not wanting to be outdone, there would be a level 16 setting that the phaser would basically vaporize tunnels and rocks. It also had a wide setting that could take out buildings, which apparently Benjamin Sisko forgot about and he did not utilize when fighting the Jem'Hadar at the siege of AR-558. For now, we're going to stop here and come back to address the Type 4 phasers, or those that are mounted on ships, but let me know, what are your guys' thoughts on phaser technology? Let me know in the comments below. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/lorereloaded. As always, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.